Hi, guys, and welcome to your first 100 Days podcast. In this podcast, we're going to cover a lot of fun topics that you may want to know before coming in the Netherlands, such as navigating your 20s, going around the Netherlands and the Saxion cities, and, well, just surviving student life, I think. So grab a drink, just sit down, and enjoy our podcast. Let's go. Hi guys, I'm Daniela. I'm a fourth year student at Saxion. I'm studying creativity and game technologies, and we thought about making a podcast for students that are about to come here to study to let them know a little bit about how's life in the Netherlands. And I'm here with my wonderful colleagues. I'm gonna let them present themselves.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Oksana. I'm a fourth year student from Ukraine. I'm studying creative media and game technologies together with Daniela. And yeah, welcome.
Hi everyone, my name is Lindela Chuma. I'm a third year international finance and accounting student, and I am from Zimbabwe, and I'm glad to be here with my colleagues here to give you this wonderful introduction.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tawana. I'm also studying international finance and accounting. I'm a fourth year student, and I'm from Zimbabwe. Welcome to our podcast.
Hello, everyone. I'm Miguel Perez from Spain, and I'm very excited to be here to show you a little bit how everything goes. I'm second year international business student, and let's get going.
Okay, guys. So I think first I'm going to go through all of the things that we're going to talk about. So the first thing is phone data, housing, visa, legal requirements, traveling and commuting, shopping in general, healthcare, pharmacy, and health insurance, which I think is pretty important here, and funny food things. So funny food that you're going to find when you come here and you're going to be surprised about it. So maybe we should talk about phone data first. So a lot of students would like to call their parents back home. Maybe they cannot talk somehow else, so they just prefer calling. How do you guys get your data? Where do you get your SIM from? How's that process going? Maybe, Oksana, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, so at first, for the first 2 years, I had Odido subscription, which I do not recommend because they keep raising their prices all the time. And it's, yeah, if you're stuck, you're stuck with them. So I would not recommend it because they're a little bit overpriced. But then I switched to Simple, which is pretty cheap. I think for students, and you get like 15 gigabytes per month for $8. So I would recommend Simple.
Okay, nice. Does anybody have any other opinions on SIMs and maybe from where do you get them?
Usually, from my personal experience, when I did arrive here in the Netherlands, Saxon did provide a SIM card in their package as well. In terms of they provided a Labara SIM. So in terms of the first few weeks until like you decide which SIM provider is best for you, they kind of did offer that connection in terms of you able to contact your friends, your family back home, letting them know you arrived safely in the Netherlands and ensuring that you're always well connected, because without proper phone data, you can't really navigate around because you need the Google Maps. So usually you be doing Dora the Explorer majority of the times and just adventuring if you don't have any Google Maps alongside you.
I love the Dora the Explorer references. So a pretty important thing that we should talk about is housing. And that's a lot to talk about. And I think most of the students are interested about that. First of all, we hear a lot of scamming happening around, a lot of students wondering, like, where do I find housing? How do I look for it? How's that process going? When do you start? How much do you pay? And things like that. So anybody had big problems with housing when they came here?
So I didn't necessarily have problems with housing, as in I didn't get scammed or anything like that. Though I do recommend always people start looking at least 3 months early, 4 months even, because it takes some time, right? And you have to look, if the things are real or whatnot, because there are a lot of scams in a lot of websites over there. And it's a difficult process in general. Some good practices, I think, that you can do to find house and to not be scammed in that sense would be never pay a deposit before you have a contract. That's a rule number
Absolutely,
one.
yeah.
Indeed, guys. So if somebody is like, yeah, sure, you can have that room, just give me the deposit and I'm gonna give you the contract after, never do that. So
Trust that.
And if you can request a phone call or video call better with the owner and maybe also with the other housemates to check that like it's legit, I guess.
yeah, that's in case if you're not here yet. But yeah, just make sure everything is legit. Um, how was the process of finding housing for you, Oksana? Because maybe you had
Yeah,
difficulties with that.
it was tough because I wasn't in the country and I needed to have a contract as a non-EU student to get like my visa. So I was looking through Facebook and there's also Kamernet, but you have to pay for it to have access to it and message landlords and stuff. So yeah, I was just messaging everyone on Facebook, just basically spamming like every single room that I found. And eventually someone reached out to me. So yeah, that's how I found it.
What about you, Tawana? How was it for you?
It was quite a difficult experience because I didn't know I was coming to this country until like the last month. So I had to look for housing in a month, which I do not advise. Obviously, 3 months before would be very beneficial. So I stayed with my cousin for an entire month whilst I was looking for housing. I subscribed to Comernet, Parias, different websites. Then one day when I was gaming, I was gaming. I used this app. I don't know. Which one is this one? The ones you use. No, for gaming, for CMGT though.
Discord.
Exactly, Discord. Yeah, I was in a Discord group, and then surprisingly, a random guy was like, "Oh yeah, we're looking for a housemate. Would you want to come for a viewing?" It was shady at first. Then I went there. Then surprisingly, I got the house. I've been there for 3 years.
Nice.
Nice.
And do you recommend paying for those websites that like give you updates and show you rooms that are available, like for the subscription? Do you recommend paying for them?
I wouldn't recommend them because most of the times it's just 3 houses and they're already taken out or they're in the next year. So, Facebook, Parias. Yes, Oksana, you're
I'm
gonna come.
sorry.
No.
Yeah.
No, or just like the houses are full of Dutch people who want other Dutch people. So like you probably won't get a response or like, I'm sorry, but
That's
we're looking
true.
for someone Dutch speaking, blah, blah, blah. So like also be aware of that because those are like very Dutch based websites.
We all had experiences living in student houses, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Should we tell the new students something about that? What to expect? Do you have any funny stories to share?
About
I'd
housing?
say living in a student house is almost like living with your siblings all over again. Like starting from when you guys first met each other from the first instance they were born. Because I am telling you, you're going to fight with your housemates on a daily basis. But funny enough, they'll be the closest people you would ever be with in the Netherlands. Because honestly speaking, there are so many instances. I remember the other time, I think one of my housemates did come back home drunk from a party and literally forgot his keys, forgot his wallet, forgot almost everything. And he was calling me, ringing the doorbell at 2 a.m. in the morning. The next day I had an exam.
Oh my God.
That's
Okay.
fun.
So that was quite an experience. Then I had to also pay for his taxi, but it was fun though because the next day we did laugh about it. After also stressing about where his wallets and keys are, but all good news is that he did find his stuff, so that's a good thing. But I would say living in a student house, very fun. Sometimes a few arguments here and there, bickering once in a while, but it is a fun experience where I think in terms of having that social interaction with other people of your age as well, of maybe your same study as well, is very good for the social aspect of it because it does get lonely in the Netherlands, especially when you're by yourself as a new international student.
Okay, you mentioned arguments. How do you deal with that? Because you need peace in your own home. So how do you manage that?
I would say, considering that we're all from different cultures and different backgrounds, I'd say we take more or less kind of a slow approach to it. Like, you don't, some cultures, they like the more direct approach, like in the Dutch culture where they say it as it is. But in other cultures, it's more or less like we kind of beat around the bush, kind of soften it up a bit before actually saying the problem or the issue. So I'll just say more or less understanding your housemates and also trying to think from their perspective in terms of voicing out something. Because most of the times you might have good intentions in terms of voicing out an opinion. Like, let's say they didn't do the dishes, they left it out. Then you kind of go at them in the morning already. But maybe try and soften it out, try and make them understand that to keep a clean environment, you need to do this and this. So more or less trying to be in the other person's shoes, I'd say that's the best way of trying to resolve arguments.
Okay, so baby steps.
Yeah, baby steps. Basically.
Okay, nice. Does anybody want to say anything else about housing or funny stories or arguments with their roommates?
No, I think I would also say that an important thing is to remember that we all come from different backgrounds. Not only different backgrounds, but we also come from different customs, like in our own houses. So that's something to remind ourselves that, you know, the hygiene and the cleanliness and how everyone organizes and how everyone does their own life is very different to yours, because of course you're just meeting them, right? So take that into consideration and accept that people are different. Though also be self-aware if you're damaging or hurting other people because of the things that you do. So
Okay, that's a really good point, Miguel. Oksana, do you want to say anything?
Yeah. No, I think also it would be nice to have like house meetings and stuff when you discuss things and check up on each other, making sure that like you all keeping a very nice and friendly environment for everyone. Because in my house we barely speak, and there's one person who is like really loud, like he blasting music from like 7 a.m. to like 10 p.m. And it's not really nice, while other people are like Daniela.
Oh yeah,
That's why you live alone. Yeah, but just in general, how we resolved it is basically I just talk to him like it helps that he's German, like so he's a little bit more like got used to being a little bit more straightforward. So I said, hey, I have work, study next day, so can you please can we in general keep like the voices music down like after at least 11 p.m. so everyone can rest in peace. So yeah, I think just keeping an honest and open conversations and communication would be really nice.
Indeed. Another big thing that we need to talk about that I don't have a lot of experience with because I'm from Romania, but we should talk about visa and legal requirements. So how's that process? How do you apply for it? How long do you wait for it? What steps and what documents do you need to send in? So maybe anybody wants to take over for that?
I'm from a non-EU country, so basically I need a visa to study abroad in the Netherlands. To start off with the visa application, I think it was something like 250 euros. Yeah, for just the visa. So basically you need to send in your birth certificate, your police documents, school stuff as well, school certificate. What else?
It was the police requirement, the certification. I
Yeah.
think here in the Netherlands they call it a Vogue as well. So more or less to show that you've got no criminal record at all. You need to submit also fingerprints at the embassy as well.
Biometrics.
Yeah, do your biometrics as well. So it was a lot of paperwork, especially for non-EU countries, because you need to get that visa first before actually. But when you do land in the Netherlands, you then get your residence permit and you also your BSN as well. But before coming to the Netherlands, you need to make sure all that is in order, as well as to show that you're able to finance yourself. There is a certain amount that should be sent to a blocked account here in the Netherlands.
Bank statement.
Yeah. More or less a bank statement, kind of showing that you're able to fund yourself, but usually that money is usually refunded back to you after you have already established your Dutch bank account here in the Netherlands.
Oh, I had a different experience. Like I just needed to show that I have enough people. Oh, sorry, I have enough people to pay for me. No, that I have enough money for the whole year. So like at that time, I had to prove that I have 12,000 euros on my
Yeah.
bank account. But now it's like 15.
Yeah,
Okay.
it got up.
Yeah. So Jesus Christ. Yeah.
That's quite a lot of things that you need to do. And did Saxion help with anything about that?
Saxon did help, especially with their digital discovery days, especially giving all the information, as well as the international office themselves. You can easily reach out to them. They always are ready, available to also give you like a checklist of things that you need to ensure that you have before arriving in the Netherlands. Because sometimes as a new student, as a person also applying, you sometimes forget a lot because it's always bombarded at you in one fell swoop. Like they send you so much information that you cannot remember everything. But the international office always helps in terms of maintaining that contact, always reminding you, saying that you need this document, you need that document, you need to ensure that this is prepared beforehand and all that to ensure that your landing in the Netherlands is as smooth as possible. Because I'm telling you, one of the biggest stresses for most students is that when your documents are not in order, and especially when your parents are not around to help you fix all that, it's very stressful as a young adult. Especially when you're just wanting to start your new life, you want to enjoy your life in uni. So the international office does really provide those services.
Miguel, maybe you want to say something about this?
Yeah, and also for EU citizens, there are some legal requirements, even though, I mean, they're less. But I think for everyone, is something that some people do forget is that you have to register in the municipality to get the BSN number, which is basically the citizen's number that you're going to get. If you're going to stay here more than, I think it's 3 months or something like that. Anyways, whatever. For whatever student, also from EU countries, bear in mind that the first weeks you have to do that.
Really important, indeed. Let's move on to traveling, commuting. I can already say I took a scooter on the way here, so that's one way of commuting here. But yeah, there are a couple of more ways of commuting. Maybe, does anybody travel by bus often, or
No, get a bike.
Like,
Easy. Just get a bike,
Just get a
honestly.
bike.
it's way cheaper?
Enschede is so small, you can bike everywhere very fast. So just get a bike.
Indeed. But what if people don't know how to bike? What do you recommend?
Just learn how to bike.
I did that in my first year.
You learn how to bike here?
Yeah, on my own.
Okay, okay.
How was that experience?
Terrible. I have scars to prove it.
Okay, for those who are afraid to bike in the Netherlands, there are bus services. There's the 9292 app that is available in the Netherlands. There's also the NS app as well. There's also Google. Literally, there's so many navigation apps that literally can tell you where your bus stop is, where you need to get off for specific buses. Then in terms of the bus itself, there's three things that you could use to ride the bus. In terms of, there's already an OV chip card that you can register to get or apply for. There's also a temporary OV chip card that you can always buy from Albert Heijn, your Jambos as well, that you can like preload money as well, that you can also use, especially for the time being because the OV chip card that you need to apply for is usually linked to your bank account. So unless you don't have a Dutch bank account, you can use the temporary OV chip card, which makes it so easy. Because I did use that for a couple of months, especially I think the first time my uncle arrived in the Netherlands. Literally, I was like to him, I can't pay like a day ticket as well because that's also expensive because we don't know how often we'll travel, especially around the Netherlands. So it's better to have the temporary OV chip card that you can give it to him, preload some money as well. So that whenever we go on a bus, it's not like a hassle as well. But later on, I did find out that you can also check in and check out with your bank account, with your bank card. So that was useful. But that was after I put money in the card. But yeah, that's the way you could use the buses as well, or any modes of public transport in the Netherlands.
Okay, amazing. Oksana?
Yeah, so if you are planning on actual travel like around Netherlands, let's say on weekends, there are a bunch of NS subscriptions that you can get also to get like discounts. They're like 40% off peak things, and also like there's weekend rye, which is weekend free. So you pay like around 30 euros per month, and then you travel like for free everywhere. Because I think public transport now prices are going up constantly. So like always make sure that you're checking their websites, and just like everywhere like you can find like bunch of subscriptions and like student discounts and stuff. So also keep that in mind.
Really nice to have, indeed.
But Oksana, isn't there also duo that students can apply for free travel as well, especially for
EU
So
students.
for EU, but not all can get it. I had a German friend who applied, but after 4 months of waiting, she got like a rejection. So like, yeah, not everyone can get it.
Yeah. How it works with the dual for EU citizens is that you have to work a minimum amount of hours per month.
You have to work, I think they changed it to 32 hours per month.
Mhm.
And that's pretty doable
Yeah.
if you work like just during weekends.
Exactly. And something also may be good for young people. So I think it's until you're 18 years old. So also including 18 years old.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to go traveling through the Netherlands, there's like a ticket for young people. I don't know how to call it, which is included until you're 18 for very cheap, €7, something like that. I only got to know once I was 19, so I didn't get to use it.
Damn, to be 18
But
again.
then I spent a lot of money on trains, and then I realized I could have not done that.
Yeah, indeed. Traveling here is pretty expensive. So, yeah, but there are a couple of ways of getting around. Okay, a really nice thing that we can talk about is shopping in general. Well, where do you guys do your groceries?
Market.
Okay,
Action.
the market in the center and Action is pretty
Action.
Yeah, those gems, like, honestly, will save you so much money. In Action, you can find absolutely every single thing you can possibly find. And on the market, you can save a lot of money on, like, veggies and meat and other things. Don't go to Albert Heijn. It's overpriced. And Jambo is okay.
Indeed. And the last and maybe one of the most important things is healthcare, pharmacy, and health insurance. Because a lot of people I hear that they have problems when they get here because they don't find the medicine that they need. Because basically, it's not like in my country, you go to a pharmacy where you get everything. There's different places from where you get your medicine. So how's that for you?
So whenever you need something like very simple, like paracetamol, strepsils, whatever, you always can go to ASIS or Kruidvat. If you need something but you don't know like what is called in Dutch, you can also ask the workers there. But like mostly for prescriptions and stuff, you go to the pharmacy. But yeah, but most things you can find in Kruidvat.
Yeah. Also, the healthcare system a little bit in the Netherlands is probably a little bit different to the countries that you're coming from. Even though it's a very good system, it has its downfalls in some things like waiting times and also the acceptance that you get. Like for which cases do you get accepted in? Usually students, what they do, like when they come to the Netherlands, you have to register in a house doctor. And that because you're a student at Saxion, you're gonna get registered in the campus housearts, the house doctor from the UT. It's kind of a little bit far away. You can also try to register in another one, because the one that I was speaking about is in the UT campus, so it's a little bit far away. But I would recommend you try to do other ways and register in other house doctors, maybe closer to where you live.
Indeed. Did you use the healthcare insurance so far a lot or not really?
Yeah, I used it. For healthcare, I first used the one AON given by the school. You basically had to pay per year, which wasn't bad. I think 500 euros. Then afterwards, we got registered to the campus at UT. It takes time to get an appointment, honestly, which is annoying. I used the healthcare, but sometimes I used to get some bills back. So I had to kind of bill them back, which was kind of a long process for me. I'm wondering, why am I getting the bill back? Yeah, that was the annoying part.
Yeah, sounds a little bit stressful, but luckily you don't, or at least I don't get sick easily, so I think that's a good part for me. Yeah, I think we should wrap this one up. Thank you guys for talking about all of this with me, and I think we're gonna see you in the next podcast where we are gonna talk about fun things to do in Enschede or in the Netherlands. And yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks.
Thank
you.
Thank you. Bye.